Hi, this is Cygnus, and we are reviewing the human anatomy study I had continued from the previous video. I do want to redo this a bit, if we could. So I'm going to review what we have learned so far. It's going to be a fast lesson, so be prepared. We have first the skull, then in the back we have the spinal cord here. You can see very well. We have the spinal cord. The tailbone is right here. We have the shoulder blades in this area. And then we have the arm bone, which I'm having memories remembering. And then we have the pelvic bone that is in the back here. Then we have the thigh bone right here. And then we have the shin bone, which is here, and then the calf bone, which is here. And I think I did that, the opposing on the shin and the calf bone. Here we have the shin bone, the bigger bone, and then the calf bone is right next to it, I think. But it may be the opposing. Do some research yourself to make sure. Human anatomy is a very important study. Then we have the foot bone. Down the esophagus, you will then learn there are many organs that connect to each other. Yet first, it's very important to learn about how the blood flows through the body, and that is called veins. Veins and arteries. Arteries are the right side, that is on the right side of the human body. The veins are on the left side of the human body. There are many things to which makes them different. So here in the blood to which flows, you have to have something that pumps it. That is where the heart comes into the picture. The heart is a blood purifier as well as pumping the blood. It releases something called carbon dioxide. That is why it is important to release that and breathe properly. Down the esophagus, as you can see here, is a valve that goes from your mouth all the way down to an organ called your stomach. And here next to the stomach is something called the spleen. It is an organ. And that organ purifies the blood also. We have a lot of blood purifiers. Down from there is the duodenum. And the duodenum is a very important piece because what it does is it connects the rest of the organs. Now I do want to put the lungs into the picture. The lungs exchange oxygen for blood. And that is why it is very important for the lungs to be in the place to which it is. We have the heart and the lungs connected by the what? By the ribcage. This right here is the ribcage that protects the other organs. So then, and this is very important to know, the reason why the ribcage does not exceed past where it is because the other organs need to inflame if there is any infection. And that is also why there is gaps between the rib cage so that if there's any inflammation in the lungs that need to happen or if there is calcium that needs to be released to the muscles or vitamins, nutrients, and other things like the nerves and the signal waves and so on and so forth. Many things about the human anatomy. So you have the esophagus that then connects to the stomach. Then you have something called the duodenum. In the duodenum, there is three very important organs that are connected to the duodenum. One of those is the pancreas. As you can see, that different colored pink is the pancreas. The pancreas is something that releases this enzymic juice that helps not only preserve the bowels, but also break it down, because there is a lot of waste that's traveled through this. Now, speaking of waste, another thing that removes waste from the body is the kidney. And this is something called the urinary tract. And as you can see, these two bean-shaped organs here are called the kidney. And they take the waste out of the food and the body and take it down to the bladder. You'll learn what the bladder is. And I'm having a little problem keeping this together here. So you have, the knee bone is something I did not mention, I think. But back to this, the organs. So we have the stomach going into place here right after the esophagus. And when you eat, it goes down your esophagus to your stomach and then to your duodenum. The pancreas then releases its enzymic juice. And then the liver comes next into the picture. The liver plays a very important role, and what it does is it releases a juice called bile. But also, the liver is something that, and every organ holds each other into place. That is why this is not holding into place, it's because the other organs are not connected. That is why it's important to have every organ where it's at. You have the liver, to which is a blood purifier as well. Then, from your gallbladder, which is that green thing there, down to the fifth duct, there is bile that is released to the liver, then down, and then to the duodenum. So we are going to connect this, and as you can see, this is holding into place now since they're together. And everything has a purpose, yet they all have a separate purpose. And it all comes together in one. Teamwork makes the dream work, especially with the human anatomy. One important thing that I did not include is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is what separates the heart and the lungs from the other organs. And so they do not stick together. So we are going to include this diaphragm here. As you can see, this separates that, but there is a valve that allows the esophagus to connect to the stomach. Then we have the liver, which is right next to the stomach, and in the right side of the body is your liver, and the left side is your stomach. If I have to put this back into place. The kidneys are crushed a bit. It does look a bit clustered, yes. The structure is very important, and every organ has its purpose. So next, after the duodenum, when the bile is released and the pancreas juice of enzymes is released, then it goes to the intestinal tract. We have two different types of intestines. We have the small intestine and the large intestine. The large intestine holds the small intestines together. We have different names for the large intestine. We have the appendix, we have the transitional colon, and then we have the exiting colon. But the small intestine is just called the small intestine. So we have the duodenum that connects to the small intestine first, and then goes to the appendix, then the transitional colon, then to the exiting colon. So then that goes right underneath the stomach. Now next, connecting to the urinary tract, that is when we have the bladder. The bladder is a very important thing, and that is what this is here, because that releases that waste that the kidneys have taken out. Now I have another piece. It looks like I have misplaced that, so we are going to have to exclude that on the anatomy study. My apologies. So we have this lesson that is very important to understand your human anatomy. You want to recognize what you are dealing with in your life. So that is why it is very important to learn about the human anatomy structure. We have the brain, to which is very important, and it all functions in its own way. So may you learn the human anatomy study, and I believe you learned something with Professor Cygnus. Learn all that you can learn and be the best that you can be. Before we go, we will review a few things. We have the skull, the jawbone, the brain, the spinal cord, the shoulder blade, the collarbone, the arm bones, which I don't remember, my apologies. Then down from the spinal cord is the tailbone, then the pelvic bone, then the thigh bone, then the knee bone, then the shin bone, then the calf bone, then the feet. Then down from the esophagus, and remember the vein